G'day, this is the Hawk. I'm just responding to the fact that President Ramaphosa of South Africa suddenly appeared after one of my videos where I stated he had disappeared for almost 22 days. He appeared a day earlier than he normally does, and he babbled on about, basically lied about figures and numbers. And I'll prove it to you. He talks about the suffering of South Africans. But the world needs to know that his government, his apartheid government, his racist policies denied millions of minorities, mainly white people, of food aid. Then they had the audacity to send the SABC to squatter camps, to people who were destitute, who were denied food aid, to ask them, why do they not have black people in their squatter camps? How disgusting can you get? And you will hear as he goes on and he praises himself and his corrupt government. And then at the end you hear him about surveillance, capture, isolation, contact investigations, house-to-house screenings, as if you have no rights.
Coronavirus is taking a heavy toll not only on the health of our people, but also on our people's ability to earn a living.
Now you hear what he's about to say, where he states people have endured great hardships and are trying to feed their families. The ANC government denied white people food aid. The United States sent them money to give to people. They denied them. And he's proud of it. And the world needs to know. And he needs to answer this question. Because if he doesn't, he's a liar. Continue to watch and you will see what I'm saying. And in this next segment, you'll see he lies again.
To feed themselves and their families, who continue to endure great hardships because of them.
I will answer the last part of that video. Because of my government's racist policies, the white population of South Africa suffered with no food aid and was discriminated against because of black empowerment laws that help, and it's the only country in the world where they have affirmative action for the majority of the country and not the minority.
It is nearly 7 weeks since we implemented a nationwide lockdown for the sacrifices you have made thus far.
Please note what he said. It has been 7 weeks since the beginning of this lockdown. Now remember what this means. Remember what he said. Because later on in this video, I will show you why.
Our health facilities would have been overwhelmed and many thousands South Africans would have died without our swift and decisive action.
Ramaphosa says that the health facilities would have been overwhelmed had they not implemented these measures. The fact is, the health facilities were already undermanned, understaffed, underfunded, falling apart, didn't have beds, and the administration of all these hospitals had already corrupted stolen and abused everything that was there. In fact, the Johannesburg General Hospital didn't even have money to do operations once this pandemic started. So much of what he's saying is not true. In fact, some people going to the hospital for any reason were sent home by his draconian police and military personnel who were put on the streets. And this is a fact, documented by hundreds of videos.
And the death toll could have been at least 8 times higher than what it is at the moment. There are 219 people in our country who have succumbed to this disease.
There are 219 people who have succumbed to this disease out of 60 million people plus that they know of. These numbers are not right. And his panic for this massive pandemic is nothing more than to find money. With the UN stats of 60 murders a day over 7 weeks, you do the math. That would amount to 2,440 murders in South Africa over 7 weeks. He does not mention this crime. He does not mention this at all. He does talk later on about the abuse of females.
Countries such as the United States had recorded over 22,000 deaths.
22,000 deaths from 350 million, close to 400 million people. In the country the size that you could put South Africa in every single state 50 times. He doesn't understand the logic of how many people are in the United States. Given this fact, please take into account that everybody that dies in America today is being classed as a coronavirus death. It's highly illogical, given the fact there's hundreds and thousands of car accidents, heart attacks, and strokes and old age going on in the United States today. It doesn't tally, and it's not logical. These deaths are not being reported correctly, and everybody knows it. Doctors are all screaming about it, so his facts are wrong.
Has remained rather low and stable. The level of confirmed infections in South Africa is around 181 people per million of the population. Have now screened over 9 million people in our country, and we have conducted nearly 370,000 coronavirus tests.
Okay, do you remember when I said to remember the 7 weeks that this pandemic started? In his statement right now, 9 million people have been tested in 7 weeks. Let me stop you there. That means that 183,673 people were tested a day in South Africa. That's a lie. And he says that 370,000 people were tested for coronavirus. They actually did a test. That means 7,551 people were tested a day. That's a lie. It's highly impossible. They don't have the staff. They don't have the members. So don't agree with his numbers. It's highly impossible. There's not that many medical people in South Africa to do that number of tests at that time. People, stop sucking it down. You're going down the rabbit hole.
We have introduced several vital measures to support the companies, the workers, and the households that have been severely affected by the lockdown.
Let me stop him right there. They've introduced relief funds for only black businesses in South Africa, irrespective of the fact that the white businesses are paying taxes and the white minority citizens of their country are paying taxes. They were denied any aid because they did not have a black-owned company where they put a token black person in as the majority holder of the company, which is racism, discrimination, and wrong. This is just reverse racism. It's apartheid all over again. And these are facts the United States people need to realize, that our government is sending money to this racist government.
We have introduced an economic and social relief package worth over 500 billion rand to help companies in distress, to save jobs, and to provide some income to informal workers and poor households.
Again, these programs he's talking about have been on the books for a long time. In fact, it is so bad that they're encouraging young girls as young as 12 years old to have babies to get on that program. And the government looks the other way. They denied the people in the squatter camps any funding and food, which he does not mention in these things. His government is the most racist government in the entire world today. And given this pandemic, the world needs to wake up and see what this man is all about.
Since it was established, the special COVID-19 relief scheme of the Unemployment Insurance Fund has paid out over 11 billion rand to 2 million workers employed by over 160,000 companies in distress. This will help to keep companies afloat and save millions of jobs. The various funds that we established to provide support for small businesses, including the initiatives of the Department of Small Business Development, the Department of Tourism, the Industrial Development Corporation, and the South African Future Trust, have provided direct assistance to over 27,000 enterprises.
Sadly, none of them are white businesses. They are only businesses that have qualified as BEE affiliated businesses, where they have a black person as the majority shareholder in the company who didn't even start it. They are discriminating against solely owned white companies in South Africa. A business is not a color. They provide employment to people. These people have gone out of their way to create businesses to give people jobs and make a living in a country where the government is the most racist government in the entire world today. And I'll keep saying it.
As of today, the 200 billion rand COVID-19 loan guarantee scheme, which is guaranteed by the government, has begun to process applications from small and medium-sized businesses. At the beginning of this month, government paid out an additional 5 billion rand to social grant recipients to assist poor households at a time when other sources of income have been disrupted. We have opened applications for the special COVID-19 grant of 350 rand a month for unemployed South Africans who receive no other form of assistance from government.
No other assistance from government. So, I challenge Ramaphosa to go public and say that his government is going to give every single adult, white adult in South Africa that is in squatter camps, unemployed, that 350 rand a month for the next 6 months. I will tell you right now, they will not do it.
By the close of business today, some 3 million South Africans had already applied for this assistance. These temporary measures will be in place for 6 months. We will continue to spare no effort to ensure our most vulnerable citizens are supported and protected during this difficult time.
Let me reiterate what I just said. Are you going to support the white minorities in South Africa that do not have jobs? Any minority, in fact. Indians, coloreds, and the tribal people who do not have work. Are you going to discriminate by the color of their skin, or their creed, or their race? You need to verify that every single citizen in South Africa has a right to aid and assistance during this pandemic. Otherwise, you're lying.
The scale of the measures we have taken, including tax relief and interventions by the South African Reserve Bank, is quite historic. The Solidarity Fund, which was set up to support the coronavirus response, has raised around 2.7 billion rand in commitments from over 175,000 individuals and more than 1,500 companies and foundations. We are grateful to the many governments and organizations that continue to generously support our coronavirus response.
My question is, where is all this money going? You deployed 70,000 troops, according to your government's announcements, plus every reserve and the police. Well, you calculate, even if they got paid 1,000 rand a week, that's 4,000 times 70,000 just soldiers. Never mind the police. Can you see where all this money is going?
In addition to those that I have previously recognized, I wish to express our appreciation to the government and the people of the United States for the donation of 1,000 ventilators.
We appreciate the United States giving us 1,000 ventilators. Firstly, I would like to know from Ramaphosa where they're going, and will they be accounted for afterwards, and will they be stolen and sold? Secondly, when Lena Marx, the ambassador to South Africa, announced this on SABC, the first thing the lady said was, "How much money are you going to give us?" And she said, "No, we're giving you the ventilators, not the money, because they know this money will be corrupted, stolen, and taken away."
We are determined that our response matches the proportions of the crisis and helps to ensure that the foundations of our economy are protected.
That's a lie. It's a categoric, absolute lie. They are only protecting black businesses. They are deliberately trying to collapse white businesses. That is a categorical fact. His protection and any aid funds are not going to white businesses, and that is a fact. Anybody can try and deny it. You prove it to me.
There have been very disturbing reports of increased levels of gender-based violence since the lockdown started. The scourge of gender-based violence continues to stalk our country as the men of our country have declared war on the women of South Africa. We have developed an emergency pathway for survivors to ensure that the victims of gender-based violence are assisted. One of the interventions we have made is to ensure lockdown regulations to be structured in a manner that a woman can leave her home to report abuse without the fear of a fine, intimidation, or further violence.
That's right, ladies. Your president doesn't give a damn about you. He says you can leave the house, go to the police station, and make a report that you've been raped, beaten, sodomized, broken, and smacked around by any man in the street or your husband. And yet, since the beginning of all these rapes, one a minute in South Africa, of females as young as 2 years old to as old as 99. Nobody's done anything. He now gives you lip service because he said in his little speech to the nation about gender-based violence. Have you seen any programs where these men are being arrested, that DNA evidence is being presented in courts where they put these people away for life or sentence them to 20 years to life in jail? That's not happening. But ladies, you can go report it to the police. That's if they don't beat you up in the street or throw you in a van because you left your house. This man is a joke. He doesn't know how to run a country.
We are ready to shift to a new phase in our response while putting measures in place to reduce the transmission of the virus and provide adequate care for those who become infected and need treatment. And restrict travel out of these areas too. The next one is symptom screening. The next one is testing, isolation, quarantine, and contact tracing. Depends on finding those who are infected as early as possible, tracing their contacts or those they've been in contact with, and isolating them.
So as you heard, as I said before in the beginning of this video, they talk about surveillance, testing, screening, controlling, isolating, and putting you wherever they want to put you. That's all the sublime messages that you get. But if you look in my video, there's a picture that pops up every now and again. Many of you will know what that picture means. And that's my sublime message to President or ex-President Ramaphosa. Everybody's past always comes back to bite them. And that's why you are controlled by the ANC. We also know that the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers want the ANC gone. But we also know you want to establish another party. But we also know that you're trying to re-establish the Scorpions to arrest all these corrupt politicians like Nkosazana, Zuma, Malema, Poison, Ace Mashula, and many, many, many more. And in my next video, we will discuss this. And there's a small clip that I'm going to add to this. That'll be part of my next video about Nkosazana Zuma and how she states that we are not criminals, only white people. Well, I'll prove you wrong by the hundreds and hundreds of lists of corrupt cases that many of them, your ex-husband and your ANC government and your little boy Malema was involved. This is the Hawk. Please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button and share. And send this video to Ramaphosa, to Nkosazana Zuma, to Julius Malema, to Poison, Ace Mashula, and the whole of the ANC government. We are going to bring complete and utter blockade sanctions against your government until you stop your racist policies and remove your BEE laws and your apartheid laws and your discrimination against the minorities in South Africa. Because you know better than the last government that was removed 26 years ago. To all the people of South Africa, of all colors, stop being sucked down the rabbit hole by this corrupt government. They are communists. They have sold your government to the Chinese. They have taken aid and put it in their pockets. You still live in the townships. Many of you did not get aid. They controlled you by the military. They controlled you by the police. They have not provided you schools. They have not provided you new jobs. They have stopped the creation of new jobs because of their racist policies. They are killing the farmers, and they will kill your food. And until this stops, we will not stop until there is full blockade sanctions of South Africa and the ANC government is removed. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. Watch this video at the end, and it shows you pure racism.
We shouldn't be apologetic. And I take exception to what Johan Rupert said, that radical economic transformation means it's a code for theft. I think we should condemn that in the strongest of terms. Coming from people who took our land, coming from people who are monopolizing the economy today. And of course they say that because they want to resist. So they want us to be scared that if we do it, they will be seen as thieves. We are not thieves. We are not thieves. Where there are thieves, they must be caught and arrested. But we are not thieves as black people.
Now that you've watched the video, please subscribe to my channel, like and share. In my description below the video, you can find a link to donations that go to South African people in desperate need of food. Also, we are looking for donations to upgrade this channel to get this message even further out. Also, there is a petition The link is in my description. And if anybody asks, please email me. The email address is there too. It is hawkshield10@gmail.com. I will send you the link to the petition. Please share to every U.S. taxpayer in the United States. Racism is racism. Two wrongs do not make a right. And Africans are not colors. Africa is a continent. And every single child born in a country, no matter where you live in the world today, this being the 21st century, you all have a right to live. You all have a human right to peace. And you all have a human right to live and prosper like everybody else. I am not against black people. I am not against white people. I am not against any race, creed, or color in the world. But I am against human rights violations. I am against injustice. And I do not believe in the abuse of humans. Just like human trafficking and many, many other things, this has to stop. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. There is a better way. Those who would like to join me, please contact me. The message has to go out to the world. Now, as for South Africa, there is a better way. And like that old movie, if you build it, they will come. You have to build a road towards a school. You have to build a clinic so your people are safe. You have to build hospitals. And you have to build a health service. And you have to have a non-corrupt police station. And you have to have non-corrupt politicians. If the law does not prevail, you have no law. You have nothing but anarchy and crime. And nobody prospers. Everybody suffers. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here. Please share, please like, and please subscribe. This is the Hawk. I'm out of here.